The thing is, if you've got good head movement and good counter punching, you, to a certain extent, need to predict where your opponent's shots are going. And that's one of the most difficult things with Santos. First of all, it's difficult to predict when he's going to go, because sometimes he can wait around for 2-3 rounds before he starts working. Other times, it's difficult to know exactly what he's going to do because he throws everything at you immediately. What you will notice with Santos is that he does switch his stance based on what technique he wants to use. He prefers boxing from orthodox, and then when he switches to southpaw, he's moving towards his left leg. His left leg is his powerful kick. You will see him throw that over and over again. I do feel like Santos can hammer up 2 or 3 really hard low kicks in and start to destabilize that base, maybe slow Ankalaev down, or maybe even just damage the leg that he wants to be kicking with anyway. But he's got to be very cautious rushing in. There's no doubt he can generate a lot of power as he's rushing forward, but that's also because his fists travel a far further distance than the punches of Ankalaev, which are far more direct, far more accurate and to the point. There's less emphasis on creating power as he's throwing and much more emphasis on using the momentum that's moving towards him. When we think about Santos, we think about that chaos, that like wild attack. And we saw it in several of his fights on the way through middleweight and light heavyweight. Against Jimmy Manuwa, and this is where I find one performance leading into the next one and influencing the person's game plan interesting, because in the Jimmy Manuwa fight, within seconds, this was happening. I'll slow it right down for you. Within seconds, they were guns blazing, and it's reckless, and he's throwing himself off balance, and he's on one leg, and he's punching from his back pocket. It is just absolute chaos. But in these moments, he's able to land good, meaningful shots. I mean, watch this. He gets taken down here. He bridges straight over and just literally kicks Jimmy Manuwa over. Full momentum here. Drives him over. Jimmy Manuwa is able to get his legs out, but even still, Santos turns and drives and gets back to his knees. And then as he's backing up here, he lands a lovely knee to the midsection. The point is, at any point when this fight starts to become quite fast-paced and a bit chaotic, if Ankalaev hits Santos and Santos is reeling a little bit, or maybe pretending to, if he's been training with Kutalaba, and then goes chasing forward, and then Santos is in his element, because that's when he's scrappy, and that's when those big, wild, powerful punches that you kind of don't know where they're coming from, they start to become very useful, as well as his scrappy, scrambling takedown defense, which as a stat isn't great by comparison. So Santos is at 66% takedown defense, Ankalaev is at 85%, but they're both, 36 and 31% takedown accuracy. I would imagine that this is going to be a kickboxing match until one of them decides that it's not going exactly as according to plan. And going according to plan doesn't necessarily mean, dominating them and knocking them out. What I've seen in Ankalaev's fights is that, if it gets into the second round and he's hitting the person at will and they're still there, like he was against Krylov, then he'll start to grapple a little bit. He will start to use his wrestling, which of course is formidable. But he's a knockout artist. We're looking at his record. So 16 wins on his record, 9 by knockout, 7 by decision. He's not looking to submit people. He's looking to beat them up, whether that's on the floor or on the feet, but definitely a preference on the feet. I also wouldn't be surprised if we see Thiago Santos clinch up at some point and try and grapple, but I also think that might be just a waste of energy for him. And if he does it, it might show that he's not dealing too well with the pressure that he's under. The end of the Jimmy Manuwa fight, again, this was chaotic. It was a second round finish, but the whole of the first round was wild. 41 seconds of the second round. Performance of the night as well. Look at this massive uppercut that he steps in with here. From his back pocket again. Whack. I mean, you can see his ear wobbling. It just catches him. Just enough to disorientate him, and then lands a couple more shots. But both of these guys, I'll slow it down. Both of these guys are throwing wild shots here. But these are the kind of circumstances where Santos thrives, because he's good at working instinctively in the moment, and he's very good at generating power when he's not in particularly athletic positions. He's at danger all the time when he's doing this, though, in my opinion, because he's wide open. And this is where Ankalaev's short hooking punches. I mean, you look how open this chin is. Ankalaev is throwing a short hook and hitting him in the chin. Hang on a minute, that's the wrong color. There we go, I can see that better. He's just throwing that short hook there and he's catching him on the chin. Or, as we saw against Özdemir or Kutalaba, that short left hand that he throws right down the pipe with no real wind-up. It's so difficult to see when it's coming because he allows the person just to move themselves onto it. Now this, although it was a beautiful finish, it is wild. And this, if Ankalaev is dealing with this kind of ferocity, he might want to grapple, he might want to tie him up and slow him down, but I also think they're very good opportunities for his counter-punching. So, going on from the Jimmy Manuwa knockout, he moved on to fight Jan Błachowicz. That was in Prague, Czech Republic. This was a third-round knockout, 40 seconds of the third round. What was interesting about this fight for me, and this was kind of a bit of a shift in Thiago Santos, he had wild fights up until the point when he fought Jan Błachowicz, and then for the first 2 rounds, he was really calm. He was really patient. And you could see that it was a bit unnerving for Jan, who was quite clearly standing waiting for the attack. Like he was waiting for an attack that didn't come. And then when it came to the third round, he was the one that started to go crashing forward. And this is where Santos's power punching looked pretty good as well. Still not quite as tight, not quite as efficient as Ankalaev, but obviously generates a massive amount of power. But if we focus on him crashing forward and being overly aggressive like he was against Jimmy Manuwa, this is when he's vulnerable to the counter striking. As you'll see here, I mean this is the straight left that Ankalaev throws here. And the timing of this is even better as well, is because he recognizes that Kutalaba's about to throw a spinning back fist. Look, he just I know it's a very subtle thing. What I'm watching is this lead leg here. You could probably see it with the Reebok logo. He just kind of turns his toes inwards and you can see his posture start to twist. And that's when he gets caught. I mean, that is a very, very small tell that you're going to throw a shot. There's a little play with the lead hand and then he just fires that down the pipe. Very Usman-like, no build-up, no nothing. No drawback. You're watching this punch and it goes straight through. There's no drawback from that point. I'll leave that on. I mean, the camera angle might move a little bit, but no drawback, look. It stays in the pocket and then it fires straight to the chin. That's the danger of fighting someone like Ankalaev, is that you don't have nearly as much time to recognize the dangerous shots that are coming to you.